philosophy of accepting pedophiles. Okay. According to reports, scientists and scholars believe we should accept pedophiles. We have a congressional candidate, Virginia Nathan Larson, who admits being a pedophile. That means that if you have pedophiles in your family, then you're supposed to treat them the same as other members of your family. You're supposed to accept them. You're supposed to love them as you would love, as we were stating, technical difficulty, as they would say on television. We have to accept these individuals and families. We're supposed to love them. We're supposed to love them the same as we love everybody else. Okay? Don't, not today. I'll ask you if you have any questions, I'll call on you. Okay? We're supposed to love them. We're supposed to accept them as they are. Now, if you have something that you want to get off your chest, you go right ahead. But make sure you raise your hands. We want everybody to hear what you have to say. Okay? Because I know this is a very, very sensitive topic. So, Ms. Rodriguez, you have something to say?
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
Why is it ridiculous?
Because a congressional candidate in Virginia is telling us that we should accept pedophiles, or that he's a pedophile.
He's a pedophile. Okay. He's an admitted pedophile, Ms. Rodriguez.
And people are telling us we're supposed to love them as we love everybody else.
That's correct.
We have people who hate LGBT people. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, but we're supposed to love pedophiles but not gay people.
That's what they're saying.
Well, they're wrong.
Okay.
They're putting it in the same category as gay people, which is just slander to gays. Gay people aren't pedophiles. I mean, yeah, there are people in the community, right, like there are with every other fucking community, but how dare you put down gay people? I feel like it just so happened after gay marriage got legal, this comes out. Like, it's just, I don't know, something smells fishy.
Rhea?
Realistically, the stats were kind of dumb because she said, like, what was it, 90 million people in the world are pedophiles? Like, who the fuck did she post a sign like, hey, you think you're a pedophile? Come and let us research you. Like, that, I mean, nobody was like, I think I need to be fixed. I like little kids. Like, I don't see how that could be accurate. Like, I mean, it might be, but it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I think she was just trying to make, like, a new thing, like, oh, this is the new thing. Pedophiles are going to be...
But did she not say, what's the word I want to use that day? What you do, surveyed?
The research and name surveyed, but like,
surveyed this amount of people, and it ended up being like the whole continent of Italy
and yeah, it was the South Africa.
So it was like 60 million people that are supposedly pedophiles in the world.
There are a lot of people that are pedophiles. They just haven't admitted it, like this guy. And this guy is running for Congress. Okay, in U.S. Congress in Washington, D.C. Okay, and so he's admitted. That's why this conversation has to be had, because this is an important topic. Do you think that they're trying to groom us to accepting these individuals?
Yes.
Why? Why now? Why now in 2018?
Because of the whole atmosphere or sexual revolution or whatever you want to call it going on in the world, while we're having to have a discussion about we're just having to have discussions about why people are this way, why do we treat them this way, why can't we accept this person because they're handicapped? Why can't we accept this person because they're black? So since we can accept all these people, why not throw these, I started to say Rudy Boots, these strange people in the mix so that we don't see it like we saw everything else. It's kind of hodgepodge in there. And before you know it, they'll slip it right in. And it'll be there for all of us to ponder, you know?
Okay, Ms. Rodriguez?
I feel like now, because of Roy Moore, because of Donald Trump, because of Brett Kavanaugh, because of Nathan Larson, they want to make it okay for people to be like that and be in office and not have to deal with any repercussions of their past.
Okay.
So to them, they don't want, they just don't want backlash from it, like Brett Kavanaugh right now. You know what I mean?
What if you have somebody in your family that is a pedophile? What would you do to them? We gonna have, wait a minute. We'll have me call on nobody, but I'm gonna call on somebody. Hold on, AJ. Joe's sitting over here. What if you have somebody in your family? And I can speak like this. Because it's happened in my family. But I'm asking, what if you had somebody in your family, Joe, that was a pedophile? What would you do? And I'm coming to you, AJ.
Honestly, if one of my family members came up to me and they're like, hey Joel, I gotta talk to you, like, this is really uncomfortable for me. I'm attracted to young children. I would never act on it, but like, this is something that I need to kind of get off my chest. I would honestly think it was really weird, but I would try to be as loving and as accepting as I could towards that person. They would most likely need that kind of love and support, because I don't see people as being like automatically evil people. I feel like most people want to be moral, want to be ethical, and if somebody was coming to me and my family and saying like, hey, this is something I struggle with,
They admitted it, you.
yeah, I would try to be understanding as as I could be, because I mean, I came out to my family and they were accepting towards me, and I would try to do the same even if there was a different circumstance.
Now, you know that this is something that they call them tree jumpers, that you're violating a child, that individual's violating a child.
Yeah, and the stipulation would be like, if they were to say like,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I would never act on it. If they were doing that, I don't think I could speak with that person if they were abusing a child like that.
Go ahead, AJ.
Well, if a family member came out to me, the first scenario that he spoke of, that they don't have to be a guy, are attracted to children, pretense and a little awkward, but if they hadn't acted on him, like if they were just coming out and there was something that they, dealt with for a long time and, they just needed to confess, like, probably 50 years ago when a brother finally came out to another brother, when you would look at what we're talking about now in the exact same tense, I would keep a secret and be somebody you could talk to about it. But if it was in a different circumstance and he said, I'm a child molester, because you don't have to be a pedophile to be a child molester, well, probably have a garden in my backyard.
This is an honest discussion, and it needs to be had. Hold on, Ray. Wait a minute. Shannon?
A relationship is a reciprocation of feelings between two people, and I feel that a child can't reciprocate the same amount of maturity that a person, like an adult could. So that's not a relationship either way. There's not an excuse. I feel like maybe, like, if anything, like, give the person help if they come out to you like that, but that's not coming out because there's not a relationship between the two that's reciprocated in an equal manner.
Ray?
I have two things actually. The first one is like, yeah, there's a difference between this is how I feel and this is what I'm acting on, but if you start to accept the fact that people are sexually attracted to children, slowly society's gonna be like, yeah, sure, act on it, it's fine. And I think accepting it is the first step to accepting the behavior that will follow, and I don't think that is a good idea. Because, as she said, like, it's supposed to be
completely like reciprocated and consensual, and children don't really know how to do that with, like, children shouldn't be sexualized, and if you're viewing children in a sexual way, it's fucked up. Like, that's not okay.
Okay. Wait a minute, Ms. Johnson. Ms. Rodriguez?
Like I said in the homework that we just started in, like, it's not a sexual orientation. To me, it's a weird fetish, like necrophiliacs who want to have sex with dead bodies. Like, in both circumstances, the party can't consent, or one of the parties can't consent, dead or a child, because children don't understand what consent is, nor what actual sex is, or what it means emotionally or physically. So it's not a sexual orientation. It's this weird, effed up fetish that you have. You know what I mean? It's not, yeah.
I agree.
They're stupid.
AJ?
So, I'm sure we can figure this out pretty quickly, but at what age that we could figure out that they're pedophiles? You should probably just start killing them off. I mean, because we can't find a place. Before they become an established part of our society,
I like the way you think.
we should probably just kill them off.
Okay, so wait a
Because
minute.
they're a disease.
Guys, this Mike is picking up everything. Okay? Okay.
Didn't
Wait-
you say 2
wait a
weeks
minute.
ago that you would accept your family member if they...
Oh, Ray, wait a minute.
One way or the other.
Ray and end up coming to Brock and Christine. Go ahead.
Me?
Ms. Johnson.
It's funny because I actually wrote that in my paper because I was like thinking about that itself because like technically when you grow, like I said, animals, humans, people, your sexuality and your development grows with you. So if you're a pedophile and you're technically born that way or whatever, and you're ever going to be alone like Jonas, like when did it start? That's exactly what I was thinking. Like not to kill him. Well, I don't fucking kill him. I don't care. But like, sorry. Like, was it in elementary school? Like when did they develop it and they just never grew out of it? Like they were in their prime in 4th grade. Like,
Well, if they're in the peak of their sexuality in the 4th grade.
and then not only that,
You're
I
a
think
child.
it's technically it's an excuse because there's like you were saying there's actions and feelings. I have feelings of anger all the time. I want to hit people. I don't act on it, and I'm not going to be accepted in society as a violent person. You know, nobody wants to be like, oh, give her a hug. Welcome to normal life. Like, you understand? Like, we all have our own shit. Like,
Actions and emotions.
feelings, emotions. Like,
Yeah.
Brock?
So, I don't really feel like they're trying to push this to make it okay for people running, like they can get away with things. I think, especially lately with like the whole like LGBT community, how you know now like gay marriage is legal, but they're pushing for. It's like, well, if that's legal, what about like people with underage relationships, people with animals, people with plural marriage? Like there's other issues, so they're getting pushed, and I think that it was pushed, like the gay marriage pushed on the love is love. And there was this big thing like love is love, but I don't believe love is love. Like you have abusive relationships where people love each other and they're abused and it's not okay. And I have a friend, Wendy, when she was 12, she met a 25-year-old and he ended up basically having sex with her and it messed her up. And she told me all about it and it made her really depressed. And she trusted this person and he got off on the power that he could control her and she believed anything he said. And I also have another friend I grew up with, and recently he got convicted like sexually assaulting 36 women, and half of them are underage.
36, that's all?
Probably more, that's just how much, I know it was more.
Yeah.
And half of them were underage, like as young as 15, and he's my age, he's 24. And basically he would lie to them and he'd say he was rich and 17 and he had a big social media following, and so people trusted him because he was older or because he had power, and that's what they get off on, is a power. And I don't think it's a loving thing. I think they're abusing kids and they're getting off on the power trip, and it's not love.
Christine?
So I have like,
Raise your voice, Christine.
I think I have like 2 or 3 things to say.
Make one. I'll come back to you on the other one.
Okay.
Trust me.
Well, the first one I want to talk about is
would consider this a sexual orientation based on the biological level. I know this is like unpopular opinion based on what everyone's saying, but if you think about what attraction truly is, it's a biological response of pheromones responding to something you find attractive. Yeah, you could say like, if you have a fetish, like those pheromones are enacted, but at the same time, you could easily say that about gay people. You could say that about anyone who's attracted to anything. Like, if you say that these pedophiles were born this way, you could also be saying like, we can adjust the pheromone levels. Because I remember in the TED Talk, she talked about using medications and that it helped. And I'm saying like, on a biological level, I think it's revolving around the pheromone part of it. But I have conflicting feelings on that because I'm like, look, if that's what helps them, that's what helps them, because I think it can be helped. And I think that's part of accepting people who have these desires, because if we can help possibly people who feel guilty, because there's people who don't feel guilty about it, but there are people that do, if we could help those people repress those feelings as much as they can, help them want to be normalized, help them, because I feel like if you're seeking help, you want it.
How do we help?
Well, based off of that one documentary, she did say like she talked about medication, she talked about different tactics or whatever it is. I know it's not all psychological, but I feel like there's multiple levels to it. I feel like there's ways to like help them understand that they obviously have a moral compass that they've recognized in themselves, that they can say like, look, what I'm feeling isn't right, and I need someone to talk to because I know this isn't right and I don't know how to control it. And that's someone who clearly can be helped. I feel like you can't help people who've already acted on it.
You can't help people who've already acted on it.
Yeah, like that goes anywhere from viewing child porn to actually full-on assaulting a child. I wrote in my assignment that I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast like several months ago, and I don't remember exactly who he was talking to, but there's a man who's creating sex dolls modeled after children in order to help these pedophiles not act out. And I think that is not help, because you're just giving them to the next level of what would come. Like, that's not help at all. So, but it's in the guise of help.
Okay. Well, you can move. This is a continuation, okay? Let me get to all your comments. You want to continue this stuff? Scholars claim pedophilia is a sexual orientation. And we as a society should accept these individuals. The practice of pedophilia is a sexual preference. You had your hand up, handle that one.
Yeah, I guess I would say, like, imagine if, like, your 16-year-old, like, son or daughter came up to you and was like, I'm not attracted to other 16-year-olds, like, I really like 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds. You would obviously be like, oh, like, shake it off, you're 16, you're gonna outgrow that. Like, but you don't know that, like, maybe they're gonna grow up the whole rest of their life and still being attracted to those people. So, like, I just think that, like, if somebody knows at such, like, a young age, or if they even have that, or if they develop it, like, you can't really, like, do much about it. Like, if you tell somebody that likes females, like, not to like females, then, like, it's not really gonna get anywhere.
You can't do much about it. Okay. Since you had your hand up, Tate, on the last one, these individuals cannot be eliminated from society, Tate. You agree with that?
I don't even want to talk about it. I don't know about that, but there's a common denominator among these things that is
What's the common
power and
denominator?
manipulation. When you're talking, somebody mentioned like people having sex with animals, bestiality, obviously pedophiles, and then necrophilia. Yeah, power manipulation. In a gay, speaking from experience, in a gay relationship, it's very consenting if it's a healthy relationship. So I don't see how that is a sexual preference. Well, yeah, not preference, sexual orientation. I think that's just the same thing is whenever people get off on raping other people, it's fucking backwards.
Okay. Hold on, Rayanne. Ms. Rodriguez?
So like, as she said, like consenting, kids can't consent. It's like asking an 8-year-old, do you want to get a tattoo? They'd be like, hell yeah, I do. But that doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean you should. It's a mistake. They don't understand what that is. They don't understand it's gonna be forever. And if an older person gets in a relationship with a child, even at the age of 13 or 14, it can, like he said, still mentally mess them up because they're not ready and they don't know what it entails.
They're easy to manipulate.
Yes.
Very.
They will listen to anything an adult says.
Especially like when you grow up and you look back at like the relationships that you've had as a kid, you realize that you're so easily manipulated. Like I was in a weird situation with a college student when I was 14. And it was completely normal for me at the time. Looking back, I realized like I literally would have done anything because I love the attention. Kids love that type of attention to some extent. And if they're consenting to it because they like that attention, later on they're gonna look back and realize like what the hell was going on. This was not healthy, this was not a good idea, why did I do that? Because your mental maturity or situation or whatever, it's not very strong, if I'm honest. And can I say something about the sexual preference?
I'll come back to you. Let's stay with this. Morgan, you had your hand up before I call on the rest of these. Go ahead.
I think what it comes down to it is a child's upbringing, and depending on the parents, like the love and attention that they give them or not, and the types of milestones that they do go through, or the ones that they have missed. Because if they have missed a few milestones, they could grow up to not understand certain things. Like if you don't give your son enough attention possibly, and he goes in his room like for a few hours, let's say, with a computer, just looking up random stuff, it would not be good for the child to have that much alone time, for one, and to have full access to a computer, and it can build up an obsession over something. So, yeah.
AJ? You had your hand up? We'll
Well,
come
I mean, we're talking about the children now, and I fully agree with everybody that there is absolutely no acceptable place in the world for adults to have relationships of any kind with children. That being said, if we cannot get rid of these individuals in our society or our families, because you can't dehumanize these people. There are people, they have voices, emotions, eyes, you touch them, they're people. You know, we cannot eliminate them, we have to find somewhere for them to be. That being said,
you can't eliminate them from your family.
yeah.
So what do you do with them?
That being said, I have been in many a group counseling where I have heard people say, I'm so sick of it, I just want to kill this guy. And they have the ability, they have the know-how, they have the tools to do something, but because it is wrong, they control themselves and they do not. Now, that doesn't make them a murderer because they have the desire to kill somebody. They can control themselves and they don't do it. They can talk about it, and you know what? After they talk about it, they feel better because they're able to talk about it. Most people that, you know, go out and do something crazy and go and murder somebody, they've held them in, they've pent it up, and, you know, so if they can, if, you know, and this is an extreme, obviously, but what I'm saying is, if we're not going to go to if we're not willing to go to the extreme of we're just going to get rid of this, what we're considering a disease right now, this dehumanized disease, we're going to have to humanize these people and accept them, and we're going to have to help them, while at the same time protecting our children from the few problems that are in that group.
Okay. Ethan?
Well, I was just wondering, I felt confused because I feel like some people are talking about a person who acts on that, and is seeking a relationship with a child, and just people that where that desire exists. But I feel like, yeah, so when we use the word pedophile, what is that referring to? Is that just saying somebody who finds?
Yeah, they don't act on it. It's the ones that don't act on it.
Yeah.
They just want to, but
I almost feel like they're trying to reclaim that word as, oh, pedophiles mean people who have the desires but don't act on it, whereas like a child molester would be an action.
Yeah, child molester, that's a criminal.
Right.
You know,
I agree.
so pedophile is not a criminal.
But how do you know if they act on it or not?
because they're going to do a surveillance.
You should.
They're not gonna come out and say, I've molested children.
I'm not sure where more.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Where is it? Him or is it? Oh, Lexi. Lexi, so him. Okay, go ahead.
I'm just curious, since we're talking about children, at what point, I have a best friend who has a cousin, he's 8 years old, and he's been caught in inappropriate positions with his 3- and 4-year-old cousin. 3 times. Caught 3 times, don't know if there's more. He's 8, so at what point do we hold him responsible?
Child molester, my bad.
That's in social service, I would think, not.
But wait a minute, did the family contact social services?
Some help for that.
They just beat his ass, honestly.
That's not gonna beat the rape out.
It's not, I don't agree with it,
I don't
however.
think you do.
Needs to be like,
I feel like there's more kids like him like this.
oh,
There
Yeah.
definitely is, yeah.
Ty?
So, I can't give y'all like no sign. I don't know if it's like a sexual orientation. I don't know if it's natural. I can't give y'all like a scientific answer. I don't know. But all I'm gonna say is people do what they feel like. It's like you have people that steal because they don't have anything. You have people that kill because they don't want to die. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, yes, they should be punished.
How?
At the same time, well, that's not up to me.
wait, so they go for little kids because they can't get an adult?
Look, so I'm saying, that's funny.
No, it's a legitimate question.
Look, what I'm saying is, we're confusing accepting, like, you don't have to, like, be his best friend, you don't have to, but maybe they can't, maybe they're not attracted to adults. I don't know, like, if you punish them, that's not gonna solve the problem. I think we should try to help them, like what's wrong with you, like, cause you might be sick, like, you might, you know what I'm saying, there might be something wrong with you, like I had people who robbed me, right, and like, they got beat up. That doesn't solve anything, they just go rob somebody else. You know what I'm saying, like, you have to figure out why they're doing it, and robbing and child molesting are 2 different things, but you have to figure out why they're doing it, you know what I'm saying? Like, that gets to the root of the problem, you know what I'm saying? So,
That's where, hold on guys, that's where people like myself, researchers, and psychologists come in and play. I want to share something with you guys and I'll get to you. They asked me to come to a meeting to just observe. And it was a long table and there was about 20 guys and I'm sitting kind of in the dark, just observing. And the questions came up about why did you have to go see the judge? Everybody in there was a sex offender. Okay. And one person, I'll never forget, this individual stated that the 3-year-old was asking to be, okay. And so that's why we ask the questions about family. You know, how do you deal with this? So Steph, since I was coming to you, how do you deal with it if it's in your family?
I guess you could just, like, you can't really, like, change the way that someone else thinks, like, no matter really how hard you try, like, you could, but, like, it's not, like, definite, so maybe you could just, like, really, like, push them to not act on it,
like, I don't know what more you could do.
Oh.
But I had something else to say that didn't really like regard what your family. I was gonna say, like, what was the point in time, like 200 to like 4,000 years ago? All of like the most powerful like kings and like people who ruled had like right when a female has her period, that's when she became a woman. So like 13, 14, 15 was like right when your woman is primed to be wifed and have your kids. Like, when did it become a bad thing? for that to happen?
Okay, I'm going to deal with that. That's one of my things I'm going to deal with today. Ms. Brown,
Just really quick for the question that you asked.
which one did I
To
ask?
deal with it.
Yeah, if it's in your family.
Yeah, okay, I'm coming right I feel like I don't know is a good answer, like what he said, because you don't know, so like the only thing you can really do is ask questions. Like you have to ask that person, like, what do you want from it? Like, what do you want to happen? Do you want help? What kind of help do you want? You know, like you have to, because you don't know. You're not in a position where they like those type of things, so you have to ask that person professionally.
Okay, so you're saying that they have to want help. Okay, but what if the family, Ms. Rodriguez, is protecting
Then they're not my family either.
the perp?
Then they're not my family either. I'm gonna treat them the same way as if there was a thief in my family. I'm not gonna have them around anything that can be damaged. As in a child or possessions, like, I'm not gonna have them around.
Okay, would you report them?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
It depends if they've done something,
Okay,
because I'm not gonna know if they've done something or not, so I can't report. If they just say that, like if I had a little cousin said, oh, I like taking things, I can't call somebody and be like, my little cousin's a thief, because I don't have proof. If someone came up to me and said, my cousin, like, I like little kids, I can't call the cops because I don't know if they've done anything. But I can remove myself and my future children from that situation.
what if they had proof?
Then I'd call the cops in a heartbeat.
Okay,
I'd take them down myself.
and they had proof since you guys have those cell phones.
Then they'd be dead before the cops got there.
So you would take them out? They
Yeah.
would join the crew?
Yeah. I would feel like I would be doing the world of justice by saving other children's lives.
So you judge a jury in execution?
Yes.
No question? Y'all feel that way?
No.
Wait, hold on, wait a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
This isn't about being a pedophile. This is about being a child molester and having proof that they molested a child.
I
That's
agree
the
that, I
situation
agree
he
that
just
it is
gave me.
horrible, but I would never jump to killing somebody.
Because
Okay.
I think I would
somebody, what does that make you?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's like a bad thing.
No, but I'm
Sometimes
saying,
it's
but
necessary.
no, it is. I agree with you, but not everybody doesn't feel that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you kill somebody,
okay.
look.
Like, if you put it.
Wait a minute. So we gonna hear everybody, all right? Hold on, wait a minute. I'm being brought. Honest.
Yeah, I think proof and evidence is really a big deal before you jump to conclusions.
What evidence?
That they're doing something.
What evidence?
Well, you gave the
Well,
example of
I can
videos.
give you a good example. So my dad has a friend, a really good friend he grew up with. And like 5 years ago, he was at something at a church and he was pulling out a TV to take to the little kids' room so they could like watch a movie. Well, it was on a cart and the cart was stuck and there was people around. And when he was pulling it, it came loose and he pulled back and his hand like groped a little girl like on the chest. Totally unintentional. Well, the little girl told her mom, and then her mom called the police, and it was under a full investigation. He lost his family, his wife, his job, everything. And then at the end of the trial, he was innocent. So I think it's really important to make sure before you go after people, in
Okay.
any sexual case, that they actually are guilty, because you can really destroy somebody's life.
And I agree with you, but the situation he gave me is that they came to you and told you and had proof. That was the situation I was given. And if somebody came up to me and said, I like little children, I touched them, I hurt them, then yes, I would do something about it.
I just have proof's important.
No, I know, no, and I agree with you, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, so we agree.
Okay. Red.
I don't think it's a good idea to do something bad or illegal because someone else did something bad and illegal. Like, two wrongs doesn't make a right. And no, I'm serious, like, it's, even like the death penalty, I don't agree with it because I don't think you can justify punishing someone for doing something bad by doing something bad. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, yeah, okay, punish them in a way that's good. Like, okay, sure, beat them up, sure, call the cops, get them locked up. It's still illegal. I mean, assault.
Okay.
But you don't get pardoned because you killed a murderer. Like, just because you stop someone who killed other people, that doesn't make you a better person because you killed that person. You're still a murderer.
Exactly.
So there's no logical reason to kill, even though that person is a menace to society, there's absolutely no logical reason to go out your way to end somebody's life.
Exactly.
All right, well, I'm gonna say something even though you didn't call me. I am coming from a place of abusive childhood. So you guys can't really judge where I'm coming from.
We're not judging you.
No, I'm not judging.
We're not judging you.
Nah, you guys are like,
no.
Because you guys are saying there's no reason to kill somebody. But if you've been abused as a child, you would say the same damn thing.
Realistically, though, you're gonna hurt your family and that loved one too. You know, think about
my family's been hurt by it too.
What if you're like, okay, so what if you saw your mom kill the person or your dad, and then you witnessed it, and then they're gone and taken away? You know, that's not gonna help the situation. But I understand the rage. Trust me, I have a son, and I would kill, and I'm a survivor as well, and I actually have fucked up people in my family. Like, my brother was, you know how much, yeah. We're not judging him.
No, but people keep saying, well, that's not a reason to kill somebody, blah, blah, blah. But if it was your kid or you as a kid, you would want to go back and kill that person before they're able to hurt you or anybody else. Because if there's a child abuser, which was the situation I was given, then of course you're going to want to hurt them for hurting your child or a child you know or yourself.
No, of course. Of course you would want to, of course you'd feel that way. That's completely valid.
Okay.
You don't want, like, I agree
Put
with
your
you.
hand up. I got a question, and this is tough. I want to know because I was asked to do a training, and I let them get this off their chest because they were just like you guys in reference to their feelings. They weren't, look like there's a bunch of corrections officers, and they invited me. They said, we want you to come talk about this here. And I asked, I said, okay, would you rather live next to an arsonist or a sex offender?
Arsonist.
Fuck that.
Neither.
It depends. No.
A sex
You're not gonna
offender.
set their
It
own house on fire?
depends. Some people who are registered as sex offenders, the only thing they did was pee on a wall. Like, so it really depends on what type of level of sex offender.
Okay, I'm glad you asked that question because this is interesting because there are 3 different levels of sex offenders. There's tier 1, 2, and 3. And sometimes tier 1 sex offenders, you don't have to report, they don't have to report when they get out of prison. The tier 3, that's the most severe. So, we asked the question, okay? Go ahead, Kat. Which one? An arsonist or a sex offender?
When I was growing up, my family had to actually make that decision when we were looking at a place to live. And my parents, it was a tier 3 sex offender. My parents still chose the sex offender because it's easier to keep your child away from someone than to keep someone from burning down your house with your child in it in their mind. And I follow that same logic.
Okay.
You can protect your child if you're vigilant, and they were, and they did protect me from that person. But if there was an arsonist, what can you do? If they're sneaking into your house at night and setting your garage on fire, you can't do anything.
So that's something.
I mean, they can sneak into your house and do something too if they were still, like, they can still do that if they're a sex offender.
Right, but you can't, like, home security exists. You can't stop someone from throwing something at your house and setting it on fire. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if we went over this. Did we go over this? No, we didn't. But we're gonna have it on the midterm. Because we have individuals that don't apply to me, and I have this theory in other classes, it really don't apply to me. That means that since it didn't happen to me, it's not my problem. Don't apply to me. It's not my child. Yeah, I said this, I'm gonna make this statement. I said, yeah, we got some sex offenders in my family. I think I blew my cousin's high when I said it. And sometimes I like being wrong about stuff. I wasn't wrong about this. We have to protect the child. We have to protect the loved one that perpetrated on the family member. That's what we gotta do. So it don't apply to me, it doesn't matter. This theory applies to individuals in society who stay silent, okay? Or don't want to be involved when others encounter discriminatory, racial, or sexist behavior. And that includes knowing, which leads to something else, Steph, because you had your hand up. But I'm coming to you, Steph. Ms. Lawrence, you had your hand up. What do you do that you had your hand up and I'm going to call on you because I know you read?
No, I was gonna ask the question because I didn't get the tier 1, 2, 3.
Oh, tier 3 is the most severe sex offender.
So that's a person, like,
They have to report, they might be on lifetime probation once they get out of prison. Yeah, tier 1, they don't have to report at all. They do their 5 years, or 1 year, or 3 year.
so do they still have to register as sex offenders?
The tier 1 doesn't. Some of them don't. And I'm glad you brought that up. There was an individual who got out of prison, and he didn't have to report when he got out of prison. Wait a minute, this dude was in for rape. And because I raised a saying about it, they changed the stuff on him. But that was just because that was the case that I was involved with. So I never told you guys that I used to travel throughout the state and go into these prisons, and I would set these guys up and treat them when they got out. And a former colleague of mine, I told her I was going to be lecturing about this. And when she had to interview pedophiles, sex offenders, she would call me, come over, you need to come over and interview this. I'm not doing it. I said, okay. Because see, my thing is, these guys are going to get out of prison. And you got to make sure that they get proper treatment. And even people in the field feel, Brock, that these individuals, and you shave.
Baloney face.
Yeah, baloney face. These individuals have to get treatment. They require treatment, Amy, when they get out of prison. Not to shoot them like a lot of people would like to. They want to put a bullet in them. Okay? Especially if it's my child, I'll be the judge, I'll be the jury, and I wouldn't tell none of y'all what I'm going to do, because it's going to be an execution. Okay? But what did the old man say? Pray on it, baby. You pray on it. You pray for me. Okay? That nobody finds out. Okay? What's going to happen? Okay. Now, no, we're not going to marinate on it either. It's already been decided. They don't want to get involved, and we're not defending the victims. Even children. Even children. This is what this is about. That's why this whole thing about accepting, you have to accept them. You can't get rid of them. They're in your family. You may not know about it. They're there. You don't like it. Then what you gonna do? There's steps that you can make. Okay. There's things that you can do. When your child is born, you start finding, you already know the people in your family. You don't have to tell them about it. My wife used to always ask me when we would go places, when I would go by myself, what's sleeping arrangements? What the hell she asking me that for? Then my cousin would ask me the same thing, what's sleeping arrangements? What y'all worried about what sleeping arrangements for? Things started to happen, I understood why. Okay? See, what Morgan said is unique because she talked about the family. Because the family is part of the problem. Because they stay silent. So Maria, you got your hand up?
It was more like...
No, because I got something to ask you. Okay? And I want you to marinate on this. All right? If there's somebody in your family, and folks, hopefully none of you guys have to deal with what I'm about to say. If there's somebody in your family, and they know that Uncle so-and-so got issues, and didn't tell you, what you do? What do you do? Uncle so-and-so was involved about 10 years ago, and nobody told you.
Happens all the time.
Hold on. I'm asking Maria. What do you do, Maria?
I would be like upset that like my family member didn't tell me.
What if it was your mother?
I would still be upset because it's like, if that's a secret that you kept from me. I guess like they would obviously, they're doing it because they would feel like, oh, I want to protect like this person from like the big secret. But it's also kind of like, if like you love and trust someone, like, and you know something that's going wrong, and you know that like they could possibly help with the situation, like we're talking about like pedophiles. Like if someone came to me and they were like, I'm attracted to children, I would like want to help them seek therapy, and I would let the others in my life know. So that way
You would tell. So you would tell the secret that you're not supposed to tell, because there's secrets in family you're supposed to stay on the DL.
It's not a matter of like wanting to keep it on the DL. It's a matter of like wanting to help protect other people so they can help like prepare for like the worst.
No,
if it ever
Maria,
happens.
you can't say nothing. This has been a secret about Uncle so-and-so for the past 30 years.
It's not a secret anymore.
So you're going to tell it.
Yeah,
You're going to put it on, young people like social media. You put it on Facebook?
No, I would confront them like in person, so that way it's not
You
like.
can confront them?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Would you be alone when you confront them?
No.
Why not?
Because like if it's like something like if he like raped someone, I would want to have it like.
That's the secret.
Yeah, like I would want to be like have other people around me and be like, why did you do this thing? And I would like obviously want them to like deal with it and like have like repercussions for their actions.
Maria, you ain't been on earth long enough to voice your opinion about Uncle so-and-so. Uncle so-and-so was old enough to be your daddy.
So I can have better morals than someone who's been around longer than me.
Okay, the people that's keeping the secret, whoa. The people that are keeping the secret are your mother, your sister, your mother's sister, it's your aunt, your mother's brother, the other uncle,
Your grandma.
your grandmother, because grandmothers can keep the secrets. They take them secrets with them to the grave. Your aunt, your cousin is like your aunt. So it's all these people that's keeping the secret, and you gonna come along, and you 27, I don't know if you're 27, I'm just using an example. And you're gonna say something to Uncle so-and-so. All these folks know about him, and you think that you got the power.
It's not like the power, it's more of like confronting the issue, because if everyone's keeping it a secret, no one's confronting it.
That's true, Maria.
You just got next.
See, this is something none of us want to deal with this. Okay, but everybody in this room got family secrets. I don't care who you are. You may not think, you know what? Some of y'all here don't even know the family secrets you got. Because you ain't old enough to know. And they don't feel that you old enough to know. They don't even feel you got a right to know. I'm not done. Hold the phone. Okay, wait a minute. No, because we about to take this to another level. Hold the phone. Just bear with me, folks. Just trust me. Wait a minute.
Not because if you have everybody in your family keep a secret from one person,
Okay.
in your family, like, think about it. Like, if you got your whole mother's side of your family keeping a secret.
Okay, JJ, you're recording. Okay. I told you we're going to... Okay. You can't hear everybody. Hey, don't stay too long.
I miss you.
No.
Okay. Incestual relationship. What is incest? Sexual intercourse between persons who closely related to marriage legally. I want to quote you.
Hey, so now this, no, we're not accepting this. Ooh.
No, we're not.
It's the no for me.
But Ty, this happens in families, and we start dealing with the secrets. I understand that. We're gonna listen. Steph, go ahead.
Like, I was gonna say, like, I have a really big family, and I was the youngest, like, cousin, I guess, out of all my aunts and uncles' children. So, like, all my cousins have, like, a ton of kids, like, little babies. And, like, I feel like if a family member came up to me personally and was like, I can't tell anybody else this, like, I just need to, like, tell you because I know you understand. And they were like, I'm attracted to, like, young children, and, like, I would probably tell all of my cousins, like, just because they all have kids, and I would be like when they have a baby and it's passing around between all of our, and people are kissing the baby and stuff, like, why would I pass it to the person who tells me that they're attracted to children? And, like, why would you want to, like, keep that secret for, like, your family's sake when it's like, oh no, that's my cousin and here's my brand new baby, and then he kisses the baby and it's like, that's, like, not right, because he probably is, like, enjoying it. He's probably getting off from that, and that's, like, a brand new, like, addition to our family. Like, why would you want?
Did you have in your house? And as a child of under 18, like my mom said, under my under 18, if you're under my house, you're under my rules.
Stop right there. Stop right there. You're talking about your child. You're talking about father, mother, right?
Just parents in general. It doesn't have to be your father.
Okay,
mother,
so
mother,
based on
mother.
that, what you just stated, do you know many parents believe that 100, right? So that means they can do to you what they want to, right?
And not necessarily. It's just like.
But you know that that's the way some of them think.
But
And they feel that they can do to you what they want to do with you, and you have no rights because you have not emancipated yourself yet. So that means that if they want to do this here, that other slide, that means it's okay.
But isn't that illegal?
In their mind, is they brought you
that's-
into this
but that's
world,
the thing.
JJ.
But that's the thing. It doesn't have to be like. It comes down to there's
JJ.
still laws.
JJ.
And at the end of the day, if the parent wants to break a law, it's technically illegal. Yet, even though they think it's right,
Who's
it's still
law?
illegal.
Who's
Is the
law?
child gonna report them?
The child can.
You really haven't seen the dirty, fucked up side of the world yet.
I have. I'm just saying, like,
'cause this shit happens every day.
I'm not saying it like I'm not saying like parents have 100% of the
What? You don't, JJ, you are under that roof, you don't have autonomy. This is a dictatorship. You have not emancipated yourself yet. That means they can do with your body what they want to, and you can't do not a damn thing
I
about
think
it. It's not about what, JJ,
But
JJ, you have not been on this earth long enough to even make a decision. You only supposed to be seen and not heard. Okay? I didn't make these rules up. I was told this. I do what I want to you, and you can't say nothing about it. Now, JJ, I don't believe all of what I just said.
I know. I'm just.
And it hurts me to say that. But I was told your mother don't have to apologize to you for nothing. Because she brought you into this world, Miss Greer.
You can take your ass out.
Thank you. You know, Miss Lawrence, you do not have a say at all. And your father, Miss Greer, your father, no. You don't have a say. They can do what they want. This is the way they think. I didn't make the rules. This is how some parents think.
So,
Then, JJ, hold on.
I got some shit to say.
I understand. Okay? Hold on. And Miss Greer had her hand up. I'm going to come back to you.
I bet.
Okay. Miss Greer, what you got to say about that? Clear your throat.
I feel that every person, no matter how old they are, has a right to.
How old?
I mean, as old as you can, like, make your own decisions.
What age?
4 or 5, however. I mean, if you can walk, you can talk, you can say no to someone. And, I mean, like, everyone has a right to their own body. I mean, most of the people in this room have lost their virginity while they were under the age of 18. With someone who is under the age of 18. So if someone under the age of 18 is having sex with someone who is also under the age of 18, I mean, sex isn't illegal. in that sense. But if, I mean, 18 is the age of consent, but you can still have a right to your own body if you're under the age of 18.
I got you, mister.
I got you.
Make it quick.
Make it quick, make it snap. So, wow.
Go back.
No. Okay, so, under the age of 18, so I think in your parents' house, you
That's right.
you have the right to your own body.
What? Really?
You know, but with me, like, I'm gonna speak from my experiences. I'm gonna speak for myself. I got to do whatever I wanted as long as it was in my best interest.
There we go.
Yeah,
Wait,
like
wait.
that.
Let's see, Todd.
Yeah.
You don't have the best interest.
Come on, man.
No, you don't. See, I didn't make the rules.
Yeah.
This is my house. And this is how parents feel.
Well, what type of parents we talking?
That's authoritarian parents.
Because I
And they're plenty authoritarian
Because I
parents.
remember when I got my first tattoo. Matter of fact, we were talking about something that she lost my virginity. I didn't have to go up to her and tell her or my pops anything. Matter of fact, I didn't even. My mom still don't know to this day. My mom still thinks I'm a virgin. So, and I'm glad she does. So I went to my pops. My pops asked me because my pops was cool. So like he was like, yo, like, and we was just chopping it up. Like he was laughing, you feel me? Like, cause it's like, you know, as long as. But he would tell me, be safe, be careful. There's so much girls out here scandalous.
That's another class. That's another class. Okay. Okay.
I mean, that was crap too.
So as you can see, I think we asked this question, if you had a choice. Okay. And I jumped ahead of myself, but it's there, if you had that choice, and I think we registered. Now the key is this, registered. A registered sex offender. Because there's some sex offenders that don't have to register. That's one of them tier ones. They don't have to register.
So what's the parameter of like?
It depends on like the charge, like if you got like attempted rape, you got rape and sexual battery, you know.
But I feel like if attempted rape or rape is a tier 1 sex offender.
No, it's not a tier 1.
Okay, that's what I was that's what I was saying. Okay.
No, there's a
like,
difference.
I feel like a tier 1 is like you got caught peeing on the side of the road because that's illegal. That's a tier 1.
Right.
I don't think that I mean, personally, yes, that's public indecency. I mean, if it's
football games all the time.
I mean, shit. When we were playing soccer, we didn't have time to get off the field. We took a knee in the corner and peed. Like that literally. If you pay attention to a soccer game, if you pay attention to a soccer game, you will see it at least twice. I promise you. And it's something that you may have to do, and I feel like that's not something that should be considered as a sex offender. I mean, it hits an extent though, because if you're doing it at a preschool playground, then you got some shit going on. So I feel
you got to set the law way over here, so people only break it to.
there has to be like legitimate parameters. Like if you're driving down California. If you're driving down California and there's no stop for the next 25 miles and you gotta pee, it's either you pee in your pants, you pee in a cup, or you pee on the side of the road. So,
well, it depends on who the judge is, because sometimes people plead down. I was dealing with somebody who was, he was a pedophile. I think his survivor was 13. And I'm looking at the case, right? This joker did only 2 years. And they had him on rape. I said, wait a minute, did you plead down or something? Did you do it? He said, no. I said, so they charged you for rape, you only did 2 years?
And then I also have a question about...
Because it goes back to the judge, the county has a lot to do with it. If the judge is up for re-election, and so when you start factoring the circumstances of the case, And then they released him on a Friday after a major holiday. And he didn't have to report till Monday. And he was going to a city that he was not from.
And then he just stayed somewhere without it.
I don't know where he stayed.
Yeah, nobody does, because
And the thing is that when I talked to the people in the city, I was like, you know this guy's getting out of prison on Friday, and the major holiday is Thursday, and he don't have to report till Monday. Where's he gonna stay at? They say he's gonna stay at a homeless shelter. Go ahead, JJ.
So here's my next question with breaking down the tiers. So say, for example, this guy, he was convicted of rape, only did 2 years, but is the judge able to be like, you know what, I'm just gonna knock this down to a tier 1 because the judge was buddy? Or is it like, once you
because
commit...
the judge was a complete asshole.
But is it like, once you commit said crime, there's nothing less than a tier 2? Or like a tier 3? Is
tier 3 is the highest.
Is that how
severe?
Is that how it's done though? Like in
severe.
books, it's like, okay, next to your name is rape, and so you can't once you register, you cannot have anything less than a tier 2. Or is it like the judge sets what tier?
The judge and the prosecutor set the tier. And what's interesting is that some sex offenders have never served a day in.
So it kind of depends on how the day the judge is at.
Listen. Some sex offenders have never served a day in prison. I want you to know, I'm dead serious. Never served one day. Now, how are they able to get away with it? Hold on, Brock. How are they able to get away with it?
Because their family doesn't turn them in.
No, AJ. They are prosecuted, convicted. They're prosecuted and convicted. So what we gonna do? I said prison, not jail. That's the difference. Buckeye jail is there. Perryville is prison. Florence is prison. The judge says, I'm gonna give you, and some of these guys were at that meeting that I attended, some of them never served a day in prison. That's what I found out. And I'm like, what? I damn near fell out of my chair. Then they explained it to me, when the judge only gave me 5 years probation.
Wow. They'll get killed in prison.
What was the reason? What was the judge's reasoning for not?
Because if he does,
Hold on, wait a minute, question been asked. Because when you plead down.
So when you plead down, are you saying, well, I didn't mean to do it.
Okay, that's easy. The prosecutor is about wins. They're about wins. See, that looks good. Well, I prosecuted 20 guys. They take the plea, we don't have to go to trial.
And they're all guilty.
And they're all guilty.
And they can't go back to it and be like, I changed my mind.
That's right. And that's what, and it looks good on the prosecutor. So when we're campaigning, the prosecutor is elected official. That's why voting matters. And once they go in front of the judge, you plead guilty. That's right, Your Honor. Well, I'm sentencing to you 5 years probation.
Our country is trash.
And they look like it's good.
Yeah, they make a deal for you. We'll knock this off,
Yeah.
knock this off, but you're gonna be stuck with this.
That's called negotiations.
Oh, it's only one charge and it's, yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Brock.
Yeah, like that guy I was talking about earlier that I grew up with, he took a plea deal with no prison time. Yeah, he took a
You took a plea. Now, what was the charge?
It was sexual battery.
Okay, it was started off with sexual battery, or it was something above.
I think that was starting out as that and something above, but the one above, the parents of the child dropped charges.
There you go. Hold on. Okay, it happens all the time, Ty. Robert.
So would you compare this to, like, let's say assassinators or some people that did horrible things like killing people? Could they plead insanity? It's the same type of deal. Like
They plead insanity basically so they won't be sentenced to prison.
So is that the same thing as saying, oh, we'll plead guilty and they'll knock off?
Yeah, you plead guilty to a lesser charge.
So it's the same thing, right?
Yeah. So you always have to pay attention to when they plead down.
Because they probably don't have a case, right?
Yeah, that's true. They might not have, going back to the whole thing with evidence, they might not have enough evidence. And then what they do is they might talk to the family members. Because see, to be honest with you, sometimes family might sell you out.
Yes.
Okay? Right?
You were talking to us last semester about like enablers and stuff.
Oh, yes,
And
and
a lot
I'm
of
gonna get to
times-
those.
A lot of times, like the judge will just be like, "Oh, he's a good guy," and like he's
Like
good
my
standing.
buddy Brock?
Yeah, he has
Not
good
you.
standing in the community. He's an athlete. He's a good student. He has his family. Think about his family. Like, so the judge is an enabler because he probably is a trashy person who agrees with his actions with the person who's being charged, and that will lead them to giving them either a short sentence or 5 years in probation. Like,
Well, Brock Turner did 87 days.
yeah.
Okay.
Think of like the guy who kidnapped that Native American woman and
Yeah.
beat her up, and she was unconscious, and then he masturbated on her. Like,
Yeah.
he didn't
That
serve a
goes-
single day.
That's what Ms. Rodriguez was going back to.
Is that a cabinet drinking game?
Who is Steph?
Oh, I was gonna say, like, this is also another thing about, like, getting convicted as, like, a rapist or, like, a sex offender, because, like, when I was 15, I chose to be in a relationship with an 18-year-old, and I also chose to lose my virginity at 15. Like, my mom knew about it, my boyfriend's parents knew, and, like, we stayed together until I was 18. And if, like, I'm 20 today, like, if I chose to, like, have my mom back me up and say, like, when I was 15, this 18-year-old had sex with me, like, he would literally become a rapist. And, like, that would basically, like, ruin his life. And that's like saying living next to, like, a convicted rapist. Like, his neighbors could love him. He's a really nice guy, like, never did anything wrong in his life, but he could be a convicted rapist.
Yeah, they call those individuals, the neighbors, if they say he's a nice guy, character witnesses.
Character witness.
Yeah, how that sound.